I never loved my wife. Not on our wedding day. Not when she cooks my favorite meals. Not even when I hear her crying and praying for our marriage every single night. I married her to fulfill my dying mother's wish, and now I'm destroying her. My name is Frank, and this is how I almost lost the best thing that ever happened to me. Frank had become an expert at faking it. Every morning in their small flat in Remulla, Port Harcourt, he would kiss his wife Rose on the forehead, quick, cold, like he was checking off a box on his to-do list, before heading to his office at a marketing company along ABA Road. But here's the real truth that nobody knew. Frank was living in hell, and he had built that hell himself. He married Rose 4 years ago, but not because he loved her. He did it because his mother, Catherine, was dying from cancer, and all she wanted before leaving this world was to see her only son married to a good woman. Rose was that woman. She was the daughter of his mother's best friend, Nicole. Everyone said Rose was perfect, kind, God-fearing, beautiful, the type of woman any man should be grateful to have. Frank proposed to her 3 months after the doctors said his mother had little time left. His mother died just 2 weeks after their wedding, and the last thing she did was smile at her son in his wedding suit. Now, 4 years later, Frank felt like he was in prison. Rose tried everything to make him happy. She cooked his favorite bunga soup and starch. She bought new wrappers and dressed up nicely for him. She sent him sweet messages all day. I'm thinking about you, my love, or I can't wait to see you tonight. Every message made his chest feel tight. When she touched him, when her hand reached for his while they ate, his whole body would go stiff. He started staying late at the office on purpose, sometimes just sitting in his car in the parking lot for an hour, looking at his phone, not wanting to go inside their house. And yes, he was sleeping with other women. Girls he met at clubs and GRA, a woman from his office, anyone who could make him feel alive instead of dead inside. Rose thought he was just stressed or still sad about his mother. Her friend Olivia told her to be patient, that men sometimes take time to heal from losing their parents. So Rose kept waiting and kept praying. Every night, Frank would hear her in their small prayer corner, crying and talking to God. Please, Lord, touch his heart. Please bring my husband back to me. Show me what I'm doing wrong. Those prayers made him feel worse than anything else. He wanted to leave, wanted to end this fake marriage, but he didn't want to be the bad guy, the man who divorced a good woman for no reason. So he stayed cold, stayed distant, hoping that one day Rose would get tired and leave him first. That way, everyone would pity him instead of blaming him. Everything fell apart on a Tuesday night in September. Frank came home almost at 11, lying about a meeting with a client that never happened. Rose was sitting in the parlor, still dressed, her eyes red, but she wasn't crying anymore. She had no tears left. On the center table was his laptop, open, showing his email. His heart nearly stopped. She had seen everything. The messages to other women, the hotel receipts, the bills from restaurants he never took her to. Rose, I can explain, he started, but she raised her hand to stop him. When she spoke, her voice was calm, and that scared him more than if she had shouted. I'm not a fool, Frank. I've known for months, maybe even longer. I see how you look at me. Actually, how you don't look at me at all. I feel you pull away when I touch you. I know you sit in the car before coming inside because I watch you from the bedroom window. Frank felt naked, like all his lies had been stripped away. If you knew, why did you stay? He asked quietly. Rose laughed, but it was a painful, broken sound. Because I loved you. Because I thought if I loved you enough, it would be enough. Because I prayed every single night that God would make you love me back. She stood up and pulled her wrapper tighter around her. But I've realized something, Frank. You can't pray someone into loving you. And I can't keep killing myself waiting for you to wake up one day and suddenly feel something you never felt from the beginning. She went into the bedroom and came out with a bag, already packed. Frank's chest tightened when he realized she had planned this. How long had she been getting ready to leave? I'm going to stay with Olivia in Iliozu for some time. I think we both need space to think about what we really want. As she walked to the door, Frank felt something he didn't expect, fear. Not because he loved her. He still didn't. Not the way a husband should, but because he suddenly saw what he was losing. Not Rose the wife he never wanted, but Rose the person who had given him everything while he gave her nothing but pain. Rose, wait, he called, but she was already walking out, closing the door quietly behind her. The silence that followed was so loud it hurt. Frank stood in the middle of their parlor, looking at all the small things she had done over the years, the curtains she had sewn herself, the photos of them she had framed. Even though he looked miserable in every picture, the bookshelf arranged exactly how he liked. For the first time in 4 years, he was alone. And for the first time in 4 years, he started to feel something real. He had made a terrible mistake. The next 6 months were the loneliest time in Frank's life. Rose started separation proceedings, though she didn't file for divorce yet. "I need time to heal," she told him through her lawyer. "And you need time to discover who you really are and what you actually want." Frank buried himself in work, but the distractions that used to save him now felt empty. His colleagues noticed the change. His friend Daniel from the office finally sat him down one Friday evening at a beer parlor in Transamati. "Guy, you don't look finished. What in day happened?" For the first time, Frank told the complete truth. Everything. The deathbed promise to his mother, the marriage without love, the cheating, Rose leaving. Daniel listened quietly, then said something that hit Frank like a slap. "You know your problem? You've been punishing Rose for a decision you made yourself. She didn't force you to marry her. Your mother's dying wish wasn't her fault. You chose to propose, and instead of being honest about how you felt, you made her suffer, and you suffered too for years. That's not her fault, my brother. It's yours." The words hurt because they were true. Frank had been so busy feeling trapped that he never admitted he had trapped himself. That night, he did something he hadn't done since his mother's burial. He cried. He cried for Rose, for the years he had wasted, for the love she gave him that he had thrown away. He cried for his mother, whose memory he had disrespected by using her dying wish as an excuse for his wickedness. And he cried for himself, for the man he had become, bitter, unfaithful, cold-hearted. The next morning, Frank made a decision. He started seeing a therapist, Dr. Godwin, an older man with an office in old GRA who didn't let him make excuses. "You say you never loved Rose," Dr. Godwin said during one of their sessions. "But did you ever even try? Did you ever open your heart to the possibility, or did you decide from day one that you were just doing your mother a favor?" Frank had no answer. Over the following months, he worked on himself in ways he never imagined. He learned that he was afraid of getting close to people, afraid of being vulnerable, always ready to run when things got emotional. He learned that love isn't just a feeling that hits you suddenly. Sometimes it's a choice, something you decide to do every day. He wrote letters to Rose that he never sent, trying to understand his guilt and what he had lost. He stopped sleeping around, stopped hiding, stopped running away. He started volunteering at a cancer support center off Stadium Road, helping families going through what his mother went through. And slowly, painfully, he began to change. Not because he thought Rose would come back. He knew he might have lost her forever, but because he couldn't continue living like a dead man. 14 months after Rose left, Frank saw her again. It was at a charity event for the cancer center where he now volunteered. She was there with Olivia, wearing a blue dress that made her look both familiar and completely different. She had cut her hair shorter, and something in her eyes had changed. She looked stronger, more at peace, like someone who had survived a war and come out alive. Their eyes met across the room, and Frank's heart did something it had never done before when he looked at Rose. It started beating fast. She walked up to him first, which surprised him. "Frank," she said, her voice friendly but careful. "Olivia told me you've been volunteering here." That's really good." They talked, slowly at first, like two people walking on broken glass. Rose told him about her new job teaching at a primary school in Rumuabek, something she had always wanted to do but had put aside. "I spent so much time trying to be the perfect wife," she said, "that I forgot to be myself. These past months, I've been discovering who Rose really is, not who I thought you wanted me to be." Frank listened, really listened, in a way he never did during their marriage. He told her about the therapy, about the hard work he had been doing, about everything he had learned that had broken and rebuilt him. "I need to apologize to you," he said, his voice shaking. "Actually, I need to apologize to you 1,000,000 times, but I know words are not enough. Rose, I was wicked to you. I blamed you for my own choices. I punished you for loving me when I should have been grateful. You deserved so much better than what I gave you." Rose's eyes became wet, but she didn't cry. "I know," she said simply, "and I've forgiven you, Frank. Not because you deserve it, but because I needed to let go of that anger to move on with my life." She paused, thinking carefully about her next words. "But forgiving you doesn't mean forgetting what happened. And it doesn't mean going back to what we were." Frank nodded, his heart breaking and healing at the same time. "I know. I'm not asking you to take me back. I just want you to know that I finally understand what I lost. And if I could go back in time, I would do everything differently. I would choose you every day, not because my mother wanted me to, but because you're an amazing woman, Rose. You always were. I was just too blind and too broken to see it." They talked for hours that night, not as husband and wife, but as two people who had survived something terrible together. When the event ended, Rose touched his hand, the first time she had touched him since leaving, and said, "I'm happy you're healing, Frank. I really am." As she walked away with Olivia, Frank felt something he had never felt during their entire marriage. Hope. Not hope that she would come back. He knew he had no right to expect that. But hope that maybe, just maybe, he was becoming the kind of man who could truly love someone. And maybe, if he was very lucky and very patient, Rose might one day give him another chance to prove it. 2 years later, Frank stood in the same prayer corner where he used to hear Rose's heartbroken prayers to God. But everything was different now. The flat had been redecorated, together this time, with both their choices included. Rose had moved back in 6 months ago, after a year of slow, careful dating. Real dating this time, where Frank treated her like a queen, where he learned her favorite things. She loved white roses and fried plantain with pepper sauce, where he listened to her talk about her students, where he held her hand and felt grateful instead of trapped. They had a second wedding ceremony, a small one with just close friends and family, Daniel, Olivia, Nicole, and a few others who had supported them through the dark times. Frank wrote his own vows this time, and he meant every single word. "Rose, 5 years ago, I married you for all the wrong reasons. Today, I'm choosing you for all the right ones. I choose your kindness, your strength, your faith that never stopped even when I gave you every reason to give up. I choose the way you sing loudly even though you can't carry a tune, the way you stick Bible verses on the bathroom mirror, the way you believe in second chances even when they seem impossible. I choose you not because I have to, but because I truly, deeply, completely love you. And I promise to spend the rest of my life showing you." Now, as he stood in that prayer corner, he could hear Rose in the kitchen, humming as she cooked. But this time, when he heard her pray, she wasn't begging God to change him. She was thanking God for their journey, for their growth, for the love that had grown in the most unexpected place. Frank had learned that love isn't always something that hits you immediately. Sometimes it's a small seed planted in the wrong soil that, if you water it with honesty, hard work, therapy, and real change, can grow into something beautiful and strong. Sometimes the best love stories aren't about love at first sight, they're about second chances, about becoming the person who deserves the love you were too broken to receive the first time. He walked into the kitchen and hugged Rose from behind. She leaned back into him, and for the first time in their entire relationship, it felt like home. "I love you," he whispered. "I know," she said, turning to kiss him. "And I love you too. The real you, not the person you thought you had to be." They had survived the impossible, a marriage built on a lie that had been destroyed and rebuilt on truth. And that, Frank knew, was a real miracle. Did this story touch your heart? If Frank and Rose's journey moved you, please like this video and help us share this message of hope. Subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories of love, forgiveness, and second chances. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it's never too late to change, to grow, to truly love. And comment below, what's the biggest lesson you learned from Frank and Rose's story? Do you believe people can really change? Let's talk about it. Your story might help someone else. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video for more interesting and captivating stories. See you on the next one.